Endurance Squad is training with a holistic edge, plans for every kind of endurance athlete, plus yoga, mindset, and a team that's always in your corner. Join at YogiTriathlete.com/squad.
I truly feel you have to keep going. Don't ever give up. Keep going, and just doesn't mean in this session or in this race or in this block of training. It means keep going. If there's something you want to achieve, you have to go above and beyond what you've ever done before. Do you believe that you can do it? Do you earnestly, honestly, deeply inside believe you can do it? And if the answer is yes, then let that be your North Star.
Welcome to the Yogi Triathlete podcast. I'm Jessica Mikowski, and today I have the privilege of interviewing a man who continues to defy time, defy odds, and apparently defy any conventional understanding of what should happen to an endurance athlete at 52 years old. My guest today is my husband, my partner, and the co-founder of this crazy, beautiful Yogi Triathlete mission, BJ Gumkowski, otherwise known as the master of getting faster. And yes, I call him that because he keeps making it true. Just when you think he's hit his peak, he drops another PR, another breakthrough, another wait, what moment on all of us. Last Sunday at Ironman, Arizona, BJ didn't just race. He shattered a dream in the best way possible. Fastest Ironman of his life, fastest bike split of his life, and a sub-10 finish. 10th in an absolutely stacked age group where nobody, and I mean nobody, was fading. It was a masterclass in experience, patience, wisdom, grit, and that unshakable heart of his. BJ leads from the front, but he carries the humility of someone who still feels lucky to toe the line. He's a coach who makes people better because he actually lives the work. He's a teammate you want beside you in the fire, and he is undeniably proof that aging up is not a decline, it's an evolution. He also, for the record, still claims that he's just getting started. And honestly, at this point, I believe him. Today, we're going deep. The race, the mindset, the mastery, the years of consistent work that led to this breakthrough, and probably a few moments where I try to get him to brag about himself, which means prepare yourselves for minimal bragging and maximum humility. It's an honor to share this conversation with him. BJ, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Well, that was quite the intro as usual. Thank you so much.
It's been a minute since I've really prepared an intro for the show, and I wanted to do it in a way that even in the slightest could express what we all think of you and what we all see in you, which is just this absolute greatness, this mastery, this inability and unshakability that you talk about all the time. So let's start right at the heart of it. You just raced your fastest Ironman of your life at 52 years old. So before we get into splits and the details and all that stuff, which, you know, we're all hungry for, what's the very first thing that comes up for you when you think about Sunday?
First thing that comes up is that secretly I'm not surprised because of all the work I've done consistently over time and letting go of the timeline, which I talk a lot about, continuing to show up, do the work, letting go of the timeline. When you do that, the things that you truly desire start to manifest. And part of that too is like what we focus on will expand. And so it's no reason lately I've just been saying, I'm going to have my fastest race. And here it is. Because I believed it would happen eventually. Like, I know this to be true. Like, eventually it was going to happen. And cycling too. And I know we'll get into the bike portion of things, but truly what we focus on will expand if you just give it time.
So this realization of this dream, like, what were 3 different types of like stages or emotions or feelings that you've had to work with? And let's just say we put that out between Ironman Texas, like leading into Ironman Texas 2024, and you just succeeding. Like, what were some of the things that you navigated? And those could be easeful, beautiful things. Those could be really hard things, but you put it out there leading into Ironman Texas 2024 that you were going for your fastest Ironman, and you did not have
I did
that.
not.
You did not have that. And so what are some of the things that you've carried or moved with? Let's say that, like moved with since then into Sunday.
No, these are deep questions.
Did you want to be on a different podcast?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah, I did definitely invest a lot into that Texas race. There was a big shift after the Texas race into nutrition, getting my nutrition dialed in, even though I've been fine tuning it for years, decades. There was a big shift that happened there. And maybe that's something that athletes need to look at a little bit more. You know, maybe they think they know where they're at and what they need. And the practice is a constant testing, constantly testing and pushing the limits. And even when you know that things work, continue to push the limits of what you can feel with. And I think that has everything to do with what I've been able to do in the past 18 months since Texas, starting with Placid, even Kona. You know, fueling on during that 8-hour marathon was something I needed to focus on and something new. And then all this year. So I would say one of them is fueling strategy. We can't not be on this podcast and talk about the mind and how important it is to stay clear and on point with your intention and desires. And that you will have moments where the mind will want to sway and shift into doubt and fear and all the negativity of what the evidence is that it's seeing now that says there's no way that you can achieve what you want to achieve. And that's why you need to lean into keeping your awareness front and center, your belief that you can do what you want to do. It's an acceptance of it's going to be hard and challenging. And there'll be obstacles, and it's never going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be challenging many times. So you have to be there for all those decisions that maybe the mind would make subconsciously that would feed what has been practiced. Yet, if you want to achieve this thing that you've never done before, you have to stand up to those thoughts and create a new pattern. And you do that through training the mind. And it doesn't happen on race day. It's not like Ironman Arizona. I'm going to train my mind today to stay focused and go after what I need to. It took day after day of training the mind. And how did that look? Mindfulness in the morning, intentionally setting myself up for workouts where I would actually need to practice being in the moment after 10 minutes on an interval on the trainer. And the mind wants to get bored. You know, it wants to like drift off, stay focused. And that intention and focus of energy needs to happen long before you show up on the start line. It's a practice every day.
All right, give us one more.
One more. Something I've carried through from all of that.
Anything you needed to overcome?
Oh, the crash from Kona, if you want to talk about that. But I think we've talked too much about that, to be honest. That's in the past. I don't know. I'm pretty strong in belief, and I knew that this would be possible. I didn't know Arizona would be it, but I definitely invested a lot of time and energy into it. So I don't know.
Did your belief get rattled at all after Texas?
I'm sure it did. I can't recall, but I'm sure it did. You saw me from outside perspective. Was I?
Yeah. I mean, I had to work through some stuff after that race too. I was like a little pissed about how you handled your nutrition that day, you know, and then that's my work, right? Like all anger is self-anger. So where am I dropping the ball? I was just like, come on, you know, it was one of those moments. And I could feel a little bit of that with you too. Just kind of like, how did this go so wrong? And by the way, your race going so wrong was still a what? 10:34. It's like ridiculous. That's an atrocious race for you. Anyway, okay, cool. Well, let's keep moving on. Wait, I have one more question about the belief though. Where do you feel that kind of belief? Where do you feel it? Where does it sit in you?
In my heart. 100%. It's right here in my chest. Mm-hmm. It's deep. Yeah. It's strong. It's stronger than ever. I think when we meet with Meditator Bob, it's always like this belief is just strengthening and strengthening. And it hasn't always been that way, or it hasn't been as strong in the past. There's a lot of self-doubt. I recall many moments in sport like basketball and soccer and showing up to games and being nervous, extremely nervous, and not wanting to make a mistake or fail. I remember that so well. But now and this comes with experience and age and a clear mind, that I truly believe like all these things are possible that I want to achieve. It takes a lot of work though. And I think that's the missing component for most people, is they think, and I did too, that if you do all this work, you get to race day, it's going to be a walk in the park. Like, I'm not going to feel sensation. It's not going to be a struggle. I'm going to hit my paces. That's not how it is. All the training gives you that opportunity for race day to stand up to those moments of suffering and uncomfortableness and doubt and fear, and show up with your toolbox to meet and greet every one of those moments and beat them down so that you can move past them. And as you progress into future races, they have less and less power over you. So as you strengthen your belief, it's a discipline. I just did that post on Tuesday about belief as a discipline. You have to practice it. You have to practice it, even when the things around you, people around you, the circumstances around you are saying otherwise. You have to have this solid foundation of trust and belief in yourself, no matter what the evidence is, that you can achieve what you want and desire. And I'm just here leading off the front, showing you that it's all possible if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to train the mind.
Tell us a moment from Sunday that you had to beat down something.
Right from
yourself.
The start. There you go. 200 yards into the swim. I was not feeling good. I share with you, I had some stomach discomfort, even eating breakfast. So I didn't have my typical breakfast. I don't know what it was. Doesn't matter. But got into the swim, and like 200 yards in, I'm like, it's choppy. It's messy. I don't feel connected. I'm not going to have my day. It's not going to be a PR day. I should probably just, slow down, take a breath, pull over to the side. Maybe Jess is over there. Maybe I can see her and Clark. And those thoughts all came in in a rush. But again, I have my toolbox, and it simply said to keep moving forward. So I can still think about those things, but the key was don't stop, keep moving forward, keep moving forward. And I didn't really feel good in the swim, or even focused in the swim really, until like I did the turnaround to come back. So it was kind of like a fight just to stay in it, because everything about me wanted to stop, wanted to quit. But I kept moving, because I know if you keep moving, I know there's so much. This goes back to your belief. Like, I know so much that if I just keep moving, I'll get beyond that hurdle. I'll get beyond that doubt, that desire to exit, and I'll move beyond, and it will feel so much better. And I did. I swam really well on the return trip back to the dock, and the same thing on the bike. First loop and a half, almost 2 loops, was like, ugh, this doesn't feel so good. My body's achy. Should probably stop. It's not going to be a PR day. All the things that come into the mind. But I just kept going because I knew. And then that final lap, oh my God, this is amazing. I feel so good. This is why you go through it all. So it starts with belief.
Your bike split was the fastest you've ever ridden in an Ironman, and your overall time broke the barrier you've been chasing for years. And I know that on a really intimate level. Can you walk us through the moment you realized that you were actually on a sub-10 pace, and what shifted mentally for you in that moment?
Well, when I saw my swim time, because I did look at my watch, even though you told me.
I didn't want to tell you your swim time. I told you your position. I said you're in 8th.
Yeah, I also thought you said, I think you yelled swim 109.
No.
I'm almost positive.
Did I?
Mm-hmm. You did.
Well, it's funny because like they were like, people who were with us are like, are you going to tell them this? Are you going to tell them that? And it's like, I kept going back to what you told me, which is like, you want to know your place, and you wanted to know, how if you were running fast, like basically once you got to the run, like, and I kept going back to that. And, there was, whether I said it your pace or not, I don't think I told you your swim. Maybe I think
you did.
Okay. So I told you your swim.
And you did.
And the thing of like not wanting you to tell your swim is because like I didn't want you to get in your head about it, that like, a 109 when I know you're capable of swimming under an hour. But then I was like, that's not my responsibility, is how he's going to react to this. Like I'm going to give him the information he wanted. So anyway, yeah. So when did you realize you were on that sub-10 pace?
Probably on the run, maybe after the second lap. Around the second lap of the run, I knew I was roughly, no, I remember I looked at the watch. It was 8 hours. It was total time was 8 hours. And I knew oh my God, I'm so glad you said this. And I said, I have 2 hours left to break 10. And I still had a half marathon to run. So I was like, I can do a half marathon in 2 hours. That was the point. I looked down at my watch. It was exactly 8 hours of total time, race time. And I was accurate with starting my watch, about 10, 15 seconds before I jumped in the water. So I knew that was pretty accurate. So right then I'm like, okay, I can make if I just run a half marathon, and then what is that? I'm starting to do the math, like 10, 11 minute miles, like trying to see what I needed to do. That didn't make it any easier, but I just had this reference point that I could break 10 hours. Because as you were yelling splits to me, or positions to me, like 8th, 9th, 10th, actually 9th to 10th, like I knew I wasn't gaining ground. I saw the guy in the pink cap and the black suit that you had, and I could never, he was just like always out of reach. He was like 300 to 400 yards always ahead of me. And I'm sure I jockeyed with some other people that were in that 5 to 10th place in my age group, because we were, 8 stations or whatever. But yeah, I couldn't get that next gear. So I kind of relented to, okay, well, I'm going to hold my position and I'm going to go for sub-10, make sure I get sub-10. And I had a thought there was like, okay, well, now you can relax. You've got like 10, 11 minute miles and you'll be okay. I'm like, why would I settle for 10 to 11 minute miles? Like keep pushing. How far can you get under 10 hours, not just break 10 hours?
I think that's the difference in the mindset between you and someone that doesn't achieve their goals, is that once you realize you're going to achieve a goal, you were like, well, I'm going to achieve this goal, but I'm going to do it as fast as I possibly can do it. And the mind, we have to be on such high alert, because the mind is always waiting for that thing to, once I get sub-10, Friday, the vacation, the bonus, the wedding, whatever it is, the baby, whatever it is, there's this mechanism of the mind that it just wants to cruise. Like once I get this thing, then I'm going to be able to cruise. And it is so untrue for anyone that wants to live a life that is truly free of these absurd ideas that you will ever just cruise in life. That's not what we're made for. I want to go back to the bike. You had been you knew what you needed to ride. You were going to win your goal was to win your age group, right? And then we ended up realizing a couple of different goals throughout this race, which is so cool. Which is like always make new goals, but continue to carry the ones you haven't achieved yet. And you just never know when you're going to realize that. But you knew that you needed to do a 5-hour bike. That's what you needed to do. How did you do that? How did you do that in your prep? And how did you execute that on race day?
Number one, I made it my priority.
You biked so much.
I biked a lot. And it started with Texas. It really started with Texas, the intention and focus of cycling above all things, above all running and swimming. Cycling was the focus. If I had time or an option, it was always pick the bike. And then I also, the second part of that was, because I'm doing more of these flatter races, was to hold position in aero position, to hold it longer. Because I had found myself with the tendency of popping up and sitting up and taking breaks and relaxing a bit and then recovering and then going back into aero position, which is free time. So if I can be strong enough to hold the position, a comfortable position, then I can use that power and that focus to to give myself the best chance of knocking those minutes off the bike time. And that's what started it. And so I did a lot of biking, like a lot.
Give us your biggest week.
Biggest week was 300 miles. I did 300 miles one week. I've done a lot of trainer rides. And I feel that's the most efficient thing to do because it's here at home. And you have to have that mental fortitude to get back on the trainer. Because you're not really going anywhere. You're with just you and you. And then the other part of that was getting out to Palomar Mountain and climbing, doing lots of climbing. You and I were so diligent. I think it was like for 2 straight months, every Saturday we were out there doing the Palomar Shuffle. And then I started to go do the Palomar Shuffle, and I did up and over. So I would go up South Grade, down east, up east, down south. And then I started to add the observatory, which I'd never done before. And now I'm getting like a 6-hour ride with 10,000 feet of elevation. And that really was not only strengthening for the body and the legs to be able to hold power for longer, it was a mental win. I mean, that's a challenging ride. You're on a tri-bike climbing, and then a long descent, and then turning around and climbing right back up the way you just came. And there were rides that I did that specific ride, and I would get to the top of the first climb knowing I had to descend and then come back up, and was like, oh boy, the descending is going to be easy. It's like 10 or 15 minutes. And then I have to go 11 miles back up. And that's mental training. Can I stay focused on what I need to do right now repetitively over and over and over again? And then when you get to the top, can you then go to the observatory, which is another 4 miles up and then down, and then a huge descent back to get to the car. So I think those outdoor rides really strengthen not only my legs, obviously, but it strengthened my belief, my confidence that really any ride that I can put into my imagination, I can execute.
But why would you ride mountains when you were racing a flat course?
Strength, 100% strength. It's the constant turnover, the consistent, like an hour and 10 minutes up a mountain, holding power. I mean, you can do that on the flat, but it takes a lot more out of you, I believe, on a flat. I feel like you get much more benefit from a steady uphill grind where you're there for over an hour and then doing it again. Yeah.
And then what were key sessions that you would do on the trainer that really set you up for this 5-hour bike split?
Totally. The past few months, I shifted everything in my cycling. I no longer did VO2. I no longer did, basically VO2, like that high end stuff. And I didn't do any like super easy spins, like 45% of FTP. Everything was either fat max. So, about 60% of FTP. And then a big bulk of it were intervals at the watts that I wanted to hold for Ironman. So a lot of my rides were 200 to 210 watts for a long, like 10 minutes, 3 times 10 minutes, and then 4 times 10 minutes, and then 4 times 12 minutes, and then 3 times 15, and then 3 times 20. And then I got up to like 3 times 30, holding the muscular endurance, like building that muscular endurance to hold power longer has always been a opportunity for me, especially with my glutes and the stuff that I've worked with in the past where they're just not activating when I need them to activate off the swim. And it takes me a while to warm up. This was by far the most focused effort I've done on the bike at a particular range of watts, and discarding all the other stuff. Like I would do a lot of 30 on, 30 off, 30 on, 30 off. And I'm not saying that didn't help me achieve this in the long term, but in the past 6 to 8 months, I just did really focused Ironman efforts in aero position, getting comfortable there.
And I think that's why it's so important to like coach the unique athlete, right? What is their experience? Where is their opportunity? Like, is 30 on, 30 off what they need, or is 30 on, 30 off where they're comfortable, right? Like, what is it? Where's the gap? Where's the refinement? actually did a live stream in our VIP yesterday about this. Like, where's the gap? Like, where's the refinement? Where's the opportunity? Lean into that. So yeah, I saw you leaning into the exact work that needed to be done, and that in combination with all the climbing and the outside work that you were doing, which essentially was climbing. If you were on your bike outside, it was a mountain. And if you were on your bike inside, it was, in aero on the trainer holding watts. Let's talk about any refinements that you actually made with the bike itself that you feel was like watts, right? Because when you're racing at the level that you're racing, you need to pay attention to things that maybe you haven't paid attention to in the past. You need to pay attention to how much tire pressure you have. You need to pay attention to aerodynamics. You need to pay attention to your position on the bike. You need to pay attention to how much weight you're carrying on that bike. So what were some of the refinements that you made to, set yourself up for this 5-hour bike, the sub-10 finish, fastest Ironman of your life?
First of all, the Canyon Speed Max is so freaking fast. It is so fast. This particular bike is so fast. It's so fast. And I know it's fast because when we do group rides and I'm riding with other people, as soon as I tuck into aero, like it just pulls away. It's like getting sucked away.
I saw that happen on the Beeline Highway the other day, like in the headwind. You waited for me because I was going to take a picture of the group that didn't stop. And I realized they didn't stop. So I had to catch up. And then you got into aero and I was like, see ya. It was like there was no head. It was like you had no headwind. It was like you had a tailwind.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Exactly. Yeah, that bike is so fast. So that's one thing, brand new bike. Also, crank arms were shorter than I've had in the past. They're not 172s. They went to 168s, 165s. I can't remember. So that was a benefit. The other thing was the aero bars that I got Delta Speed, really from my buddy Lorenzo. Shout out to him, a guy that you used to give massage to in Newport, Rhode Island.
Yeah, he was my client in Rhode Island. And I was so pumped because we had left like the triathlon mecca of Boulder. And then in comes this amazing Italian athlete that became my client. And then like a dear friend of yours and ours for years now.
Yeah, we had both had the dream of Kona, qualifying for Kona. And so we would do workouts, started doing workouts together. And of course he would lead and take the lead on the bike because that's his jam. And then on the run, I would lead on the run. And so we were a good complement for each other. I remember doing track workouts with him. And then I remember the time it was raining, of course, in Newport, and we had to hit the treadmills for 2 hours. And we did a session together side by side. It was so brutal, but we got it done. So he's been a longtime training partner. And then we both qualified in 2022 and were able to be on the island together, which was pretty special. So anyway, he helped start a company, Delta Speed, of these really amazing aero bars. And, in typical BJ fashion, I was kind of like resistant because, I was comfortable with what I had, thinking that was the best solution in that moment. Maybe it was, but I got these Delta Speed aero bars, and our mechanic Yao put them on pretty quickly and pretty easily. From the first ride, it was like so comfortable, super comfortable. Timing is everything, right? And with my focus of working to stay in aero position longer, you have to find that comfort in the discomfort. And these just elevated that so quickly. And I was pretty comfortable. I'm not uncomfortable at all anymore, really, in aero position. So those aero bars helped a lot. Delta Speed, check them out. Our buddy Lorenzo, he's a good guy, triathlete himself. So that was extremely helpful. And then I don't think there was anything else I did specifically for aeroness, but I think the number one thing is just stay in aero.
Right. If you want to be aero, you should be in the aero position. It seems, it makes sense. As a coach, you teach athletes to stay within themselves, right, in order to go beyond. On Sunday, what was the moment where you had to coach yourself? And what did that internal conversation look like to stay within yourself?
I would say it was the bike. And staying within myself meant also staying on point with my goal of I'm strong on the bike. I need to use this fitness. my mind kept going to, I don't want to fall apart on the run by going too hard on the bike.
What did you want?
I wanted to run strong off the bike and have a good bike.
Isn't it funny how we'll fall into what we don't want?
100%. Yeah.
like for two people that like train their mind all the time. The time.
This is why you need to be an observer of that conversation. It is not you. That is just the mind trying to calculate and do things, think, which is what it's meant to do. So if you can observe it, I saw like, okay, well, I need to act as if I have nothing to lose. I know you say everything to gain, but
right. Yeah.
But my mind, this works for me. So I'm sticking with it. I have nothing to lose. So I just doubled down and just stayed on course with my cycling, even though my legs were starting to ache and feel sensation, felt heavy. And for a second there, it would say like, hey, your legs are going to be so heavy on the run. And again, pulled myself out of that quickly. Nope, that's not you. Be here now. And be here now is my mantra always on the bike. Be here now for so many reasons. That being one. Two was just the chaos of the stuff and the carnage on the road and the potholes. And number three was to stay on top of nutrition. Because it's really easy to be in aero position at that moment when you finished your bottle up front, you need to grab the bottle behind you and you're like, well, I'm just going to tuck in just for another 5 minutes. And to pull yourself out and say, no, you can't wait 5 minutes. You need to grab the fuel now. The fueling is going to allow you to go faster and further and set you up for a successful run. So yeah, there were many moments on the bike because you're out there for, 5 hours, 5+ hours.
All right, let's talk about nutrition. I know we had a Brendan who also raced on Sunday. Brendan, Philip, Laura, amazing jobs out there on Sunday. If you haven't checked out our post on Instagram on YogiTriathlete, check it out. Gives a little tidbit about these 3 incredible athletes that were out there racing. But I know Brendan had a question on that. What did he want to know?
Yeah, he wanted to know fueling strategy on the run.
Oh, on the run.
On the run specifically.
Well, why don't you just give it through the day and then dive in a little bit more on the run.
Yeah. So the swim, I took a gel in about 10 minutes before I started.
And was this a gel from the box in your training room?
No,
that's been there for like 8 years, or did you have like a new SIS gel?
Yeah, new SIS gel.
Okay. No more cherry lime Roctane from 2016.
I did take the Coca-Cola. The Coca-Cola, the liquid gels. We have some on the run.
Expired gels that BJ's been working through.
Working my way through.
That's been amazing.
But race day, I took the SIS
nice. Love
about
that.
10 minutes before. That fueled me all the way through the swim. And then on the bike, I went into my routine of 1 full water bottle of Blank's Sports Nutrition high carb mix. Blue raspberry or root beer were the 2 flavors I had. And each water bottle had 1/3 of a package of the right stuff in it. So total, I had 400 calories, 100 grams of carbs, and about 800 milligrams of sodium per water bottle. I went through 5 of those for 5 hours. I also took in 2 SIS gels and 1 caffeinated Martin gel on the bike. So that's another 20, 40, 60 grams of carbs, another 300 calories. And I can't recall, I've been trying to dig deep into my memory if I took a regular Martin gel. I want to say I did, but I can't quite remember if I did. So it's 3 or 4 gels. And that was a lot. That was good for me. It was right on point. I felt really good. No stomach issues, no cramping at all. So that was the bike. Oh, and of course, a ton of water. I used my internal bladder on the Canyon bike for the first time during a race. That was great, just to always have that water there. And when I came across aid stations, I would grab water, pour it over my head, drink some of it, fill up my reservoir, and then chuck it. So I never had to carry that extra bottle. That was the bike. And then on the run, my strategy was stay on top of electrolytes. I think I knew and felt that heat rise up on the second lap on the bike. And I knew a lot of people were taking it light because it was cooler out, it was overcast, and possibly thought that they didn't need to fuel well, or stay on top of electrolytes. Like they didn't need as many, but I know too much. Like you got to stay on top of that. I had a flask that I took out of T2 onto the run, a handheld flask that had 1 serving of blanks, kiwi. I took your flavor, kiwi. So 1 full serving there. So that's 100 grams of carbs, 400 calories, and 200 milligrams of sodium. And then I added a full package of Right Stuff, which is 1,780 milligrams of sodium. So that's almost 2,000 milligrams of sodium in this handheld. And what I do with this is I just sip it. So I'm getting calories, I'm getting electrolytes, and I'm getting carbs. So I just sip on it every, 1 to 2 miles. I'll sip on it and keep up the balance of electrolytes in my system. And in the meantime, I'm taking SIS gels, which I brought 3 with me in my back pocket. I was taking in the caffeinated and non-caffeinated Martin gels, which I haven't been diligent about in the past, but I focused on that during this race, and plenty of cola. I didn't take a lot of cola. I just kept sipping a cup at probably every other aid station. That was it. I did at the personal needs bag on the run, my flask was empty. So I had put another Right Stuff packet in there. So I took that Right Stuff package, stopped, emptied it into my flask, and then closed it up. Didn't add any water to it. So it was simply just the Right Stuff.
That's like a shot of Dewar's.
Yeah, really intense. And I would sip on that for the remainder of the run.
Nice. You feel like, do you feel like it seems like you nailed it. Do you feel like you nailed your nutrition?
I feel like I can still add a little bit more.
More what? Calories, carbs?
Yeah, more, both.
Okay.
I think I can dial up the bike a little bit more, and I think I could be more diligent on the run.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think I took my first gel in at mile 4, because I wanted to give my stomach some space. I was feeling good, but I would probably do it sooner.
Yeah.
And taking it more. Yeah.
And it's such a in the moment.
It is.
Yeah, it's an in the moment decision, but that decision is made correctly when you're aware, right? Like when you've practiced it, when you are awake to your brain body connection and where you are in that moment. Like you have to be trustworthy. You really have to be trustworthy to do things, make those choices in the moment. What?
I don't know if you're wrapping this up, but I do want to share that story of
Share the story.
That amazing soul.
Yeah. So tell us about what happened. You were coming for your third lap, and
you had posted up, the crew, YogiTriathlete crew had posted up where we always do it, that little split. Great spot to be. And you were so great. The whole team was great. Energy was so high. And you kept telling me, I think it was just on repeat, like you're in 8th or 9th and 10th. And, anywhere between 6th and 8th is right ahead of you. Like 6th and 9th, it's right there. And if now is the time to go, if you want to go. This is what you said to me in the third lap. As I came through, I was like, I'm maxed. Like, this is what I have, but I'm going to keep moving forward and just see if the others can fall apart. And what happened there was this guy who I didn't realize until that particular instance, because I looked back at the video someone had taken right there, and he was with me then. And he must have heard you say that if I wanted to place or if I wanted to get to those guys, now is the time. And he looked back a few moments after we had passed you and said, what pace do you need to hit? And I was like, I need to be between 8:30 and 9 right now. That I just need to hold here. Cause in my mind, I'm like 10, sub-10, best that I can. And if these guys fall apart, at least I'm still moving forward. And he just said, get on the back, get on the back. From that moment on, I don't know how many miles it was, maybe 6 miles to go. I just stayed on his feet, and he getting a little emotional. He kept looking back to make sure I was there. I don't know why he was doing this. I have no idea. It doesn't matter. He was provided to help get me to the finish line the best that I could, fastest I could. So I just stuck to his back and he could hear me breathing. And when the distance would get to about 3 or 4 meters, he would look back and then he would slow down. I saw him slow down and wait, like an intentional, it wasn't like a stand still. It was just like he slowed down to wait till I got back on his heels. And then I got right back on. And as we would go through aid stations, he would look around, make sure that I would get my water and he would take the second one, allowing me the first one. And just all these little things. And I kept saying, you are incredible. You are amazing. Like, I'm so grateful. And I don't know if, that I look at it like, was I saying that to him or was I saying that to me? Like, am I amazing? Have I helped others achieve what they want to achieve without asking for anything in return? And it took everything in my focus to stay on his feet because I did not want to run. I felt exhausted. Legs were hurting. My heel was hurting. I just needed to stay on his heels and his legs. And I knew we could get to the finish together. And I remember looking down at my watch and we had, I don't know, like, I think it was 9:51, 9:50 and change, something around there. And we were getting close to that turn off because there's a split where it says lap 2 and 3 and then finish. And we got to the turn off to the finish and we went around this little bend and then out to the main road. And I said, you can go ahead. Like, I'm good. Like, you can go celebrate. I had asked him if this was his first Ironman, and it was. So to do that on your first Ironman to help someone who you don't even know out there to achieve something really big, I think it demonstrates humanity. I think it demonstrates putting yourself in service and not expecting anything from it. Selfless service. When it all comes down to it, what I love about Ironman is just these moments of connection. They're fleeting, they're short, and sometimes we never see these people ever again. I think he was delivered down as a guide for me to show that I needed a little bit of help and that I needed to accept the help and that in order to achieve big things, you don't do it by yourself. You need a community. And then whether that's people you know and people you've never even met before. Because once we crossed the finish line, I didn't see him again. And he literally was, 20 feet ahead of me when he crossed the finish line. I never saw him again. So that whoever you are, well, I know who he is. I connected with him on Instagram, Ludo. You're amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And forever grateful for helping me achieve my first Sub-10. And he went Sub-10. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I wanted to share that.
All right. We do need to wrap this up because you need to go leave and teach yoga.
Yeah.
But what do you want your athletes to take away from this? You live the example. You coach athletes that have goals. You coach athletes who fall sometimes mentally, blow things off, show up for things, blow you away with how determined they are, blow you away with how far they can fall. Like, you're guiding, you're shepherding like this group of humans that, like you are navigating a lot of different things. And what do you want your athletes, those that you coach one-on-one and also those that you lead in Endurance Squad? What do you want them to take away from what you showed us all on Sunday?
Trust the process and keep going. I think we give up way too early, way too soon. To achieve something you've never done before, you have to stick to it longer than you've ever done before. Give yourself a chance. See it through to the end. I see all too often they stop way too soon. And if I can be a demonstration or an inspiration for you to keep going, then my job is done. My job is done. I truly feel you have to keep going. Don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Keep going. And just doesn't mean in this session or in this race or in this block of training. It means keep going. If there's something you want to achieve, you have to go above and beyond what you've ever done before. So do you believe that you can do it? Do you earnestly, honestly, deeply inside believe you can do it? And if the answer is yes, then let that be your North Star.
All right.
Yep.
That's it. That's a wrap.
Cool.
If there's anything that we didn't cover, let us know. But congratulations. That was it was a really beautiful thing to watch. And I didn't even realize the Sub-10 thing was happening until I got to the finish line and I looked and you were at 9 hours and 46 seconds and you had like 1.35 miles to go or something like that, or like 1.85 miles to go. I don't know what it was, but I was like, oh my God. And then you did it. And you finished. And that's what I just kept saying to you. Like, you did it. You did it. You did it. Yeah. You had a lot of good emotion come up and it's just amazing to watch. And thank you. Thank you for being such a leader for this. I mean, I just can't imagine, like, I can't imagine like YogiTriathlete without you. Like, you are such a leader. You're so humble and you're incredible. And if anybody's listening to this and you thought like you've wanted to coach with BJ before, like, what the hell are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? You are worth it. You are worth the investment of your time, of your money, of the sacrifices that you're going to need to make. But nobody's going to help you strengthen your belief more than this guy. Like, period, end of conversation. And so thank you, BJ, for being such an impeccable leader for this community.
Thank you for all your support.
If you're enjoying the YogiTriathlete podcast, you'll love our other show, Awake Athlete. 5 complete seasons, short, potent, no surface chatter episodes to train the mind like you train the body. Season 6 is live now. Search for Awake Athlete wherever you get your podcasts and start listening today.